books. I'm always a little scared to share my screen sometimes because I have spoilers sometimes.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair.
So maybe someone else can try. Um, but anyways, hello,
Not
our loyal viewers and listeners. This is session 10, I think. I actually checked
maybe.
this. I think it is 10. Um, and yeah, and we're gonna do a weird little recap if you all are still down for that. Basically, just to the best of your ability, try and recap what your character experienced last session. Or even if maybe you didn't go through too much, maybe how your character like saw your friends, you share a little more insight on how you felt seeing your friends suffer or be injured or whatever. Um, so whoever wants to go first, last session did start with sneak, but Colton, you don't have to start if you don't want to.
I'm gonna be real. I won't remember.
I think I can start actually.
Okay, go ahead.
So Melvin wasn't necessarily I got a lot of time to just sit back and listen to what? Oh, my video isn't on. Oh, okay. So
It
yeah,
was very dramatic. I liked it.
I got to sit back and listen to a lot of some really great character role play. And so my knowledge outside of the game is great, but inside I didn't see much. So I think one recap I'd like to touch on is like Melvin going to the Sandbottom's house and kind of seeing and hearing how affected the people of Vogler are by this potential looming danger. I think it was pretty sweet to see the Sandbottoms as a little family unit, and Melvin ended up staying the night there. Willow also stayed the night, but she didn't stay there the entire night. Melvin doesn't know why, so I'm excited to see what Willow's recap is. But basically, Lyx and Melvin had kind of a sweet girly pop sleepover where they just kind of laid in bed and talked and caught up and rested. Um, yeah, they smoked the wacky tobacco, which for legal purposes is like a joke, I guess. Yeah, right, right. So I think that's kind of what happened in Melvin's point of view, but I'm so excited to hear y'all recap how y'all got some extra powers. I got an agenda for us when we return to gameplay. Next.
One thing I'll say, Melvin, is that the session actually, after the Deling scene, you as Melodia, Lyx, and Willow walked back from Bogler and kind of had this sort of tense come down from the experience of Willow almost dying. But Melodia was pretty receptive, although and maybe somewhat respectful of Willow, just her toughness and willingness to not stand down. I remember hearing something about like Melodia was like, oh, for the first time, she's actually like kind of quiet. She's actually taken aback. So that was another thing that happened from your perspective. But yeah. Yeah, and a lot of these events were happening at the same time, and I'm happy to like help. I can help you jog your memory if you want, Colton. Like I can. So you just came back right from the big escape in the forest. You just saw the army beyond the cliffs in the northern waste. And your friends headed back to Vogler while your family was like, all right. Well, Smarts was like, all right, sorry that you guys almost died. I was not planning that.
I got like generational secrets,
basically.
right?
Yep.
Generational secrets, and I got my grandmother's like blood-soaked jersey or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, I kind of remember that now. All right, I did write down the right note. It was like this wrote 04/04/24, and I was like, no way it was that long ago. I must have missed one, but it must have.
Yeah, so yeah, Smarts was like, yeah, you and Sly, your sister, can ask him any questions you want, basically. as he opened the secret door of your treehouse, which is like a library, and then it had a bunch of weird, odd knickknacks on the wall. One of them being your great grandma Jandin's bloodied shirt. And you added that it has the rose sigil from the Knights of the Rose,
I
which
threw
I
that
think is
on.
cool. Yep. So now it's like over your armor, kind of like a banner. I don't know. I imagine like maybe you cut it a bit or something so that
Yeah,
it can
maybe
fit.
like baggily draped over it, like
Yeah.
it's just like there.
It's like curtains on your armor or something. Yeah. So everyone else remember that Sneak is looking different again. And maybe at this point it's just like whatever. It's Sneak. But yeah, you asked some great questions basically about like what's your family's role in all this, both maybe in the war that is maybe to come, and also just in general, like what the hell is the purpose of your family? And Smarts was trying his best to answer that because he doesn't really know either. He's just trying to piece together the information that has been left over. All he sort of deciphered was that maybe your family's connected to the cataclysm, at least in knowing about it, knowing how it happened, because your great grandma was there with the legendary hero who tried to save the world, Lidara. Um, and yeah, I mean, there was a lot shared. There's a lot of information. It was kind of like a lore dump. So if there is an episode you want to revisit, that's a good one. Um, but yeah, and then yeah, the other big thing I think was that your Jandin, this founder of your spy family with her husband Willie, right? That was the name you came up with on the spot. She founded this family, they founded this family and how they functioned from the generations moving forward with the weird names, the secrets, on the birth of
Wait, was it Willie
your,
or Wiley? Did I say Wiley or Willie?
whichever. You can change it
Oh,
now if you want.
I thought I might have. My grandpa's name is Wiley, so I think I would maybe have
You
said
want
that, but
Wiley?
maybe I did say Willie. So let's go Willie. Willie's fine.
Are you sure?
Yeah,
I'm
Willie's
okay
fine.
with Willie. Okay, cool.
Yeah, Willie's fine.
Willie Wiley. Maybe he's both.
Yeah, that's it. Willie Wiley. That's it.
That's a good name. Willie Wiley. Yeah, so yeah. On the birth of their grandson, Phelps, I think you named him. Um, she kind of like went out for a little bit, and then when she came back to see the new baby, she was dying and had blood all over her shirt, and she said it was Soth. That Soth killed her. Um, And yeah, there's probably a few more reveals, but those were the big ones. And then Sly just kind of asked about why the hell is Ma spitting fire? Kind of went on a tangent there. And yeah, and then you just kind of knocked out. You guys, your he's got a big family bag of holding, trying to get precious heirlooms and books and stuff. But he basically said that you should just go help Bogler and that your family will catch up with you. We'll catch up with the Voglins at some point. And then you knocked out. And that was kind of Sneak's journey until later on when he finds Willow recovering in Mayor Raven's house. He was just kind of waiting out in the lobby, maybe eating some breakfast. So Willow or Lyx, you two were kind of the heavy hitters last session. You experienced a lot. Do either of you want to go? Happy to help set up kind of your beginning.
Yeah, I can throw my story in. After a tense walk back, I felt like I was like in the middle of like a sibling feud. It was like, whoa, this is a little toasty. But at the same time, I was so fixated on getting back to my dad's and figuring out how to tell them and how to move forward from this, but also like jittery tired. So yeah, I just felt a little like needy and I wanted my buddy to stay with me. So Melvin kindly stayed, and even Willow, my newer friend, stayed too, albeit in Willow.
Sorry, can I interrupt real quick? You actually convinced Melodia to stay with you, and it was a really sweet moment.
Sure.
Yeah, it was a really sweet moment where Melodia was like really trying to comfort you, and then you guys hug, and as you're hugging, they transform back into Melvin.
Yes.
So a really cool moment there.
Yeah. My dad Waywin offered to kind of like spread the news about the army for the rest of the town while we rested. My dad Bill Bricks is just like really dealing with shock, and I'm not really sure how he's doing. And in, Melvin fell asleep quite quickly and heavily, and in the middle of the night, I was taken, I was coaxed, I was drawn out. I had no control over my body, and I was beckoned into the woods by my house. And there was a figure, a tall, billowy, black robed, floating, kind of jumpy hair, but like not real hair. It was very confusing. Was there asking me where Alastria or Ilaria?
Alaria.
Where Ilaria is, and I have no idea who Ilaria is. And while this being was trying to kept pushing me toward them, I used all of my power in me to try and attack him, and I was sent back my own lightning bolt, and that was incredibly painful. So I'm gonna have to think on that about how I've been treating others with my magic. And I don't know what else was there anything else that they asked of me? They called me the child of darkness or something.
Yeah, they kept emphasizing that only you could see them, and that you were the child of darkness. That they were trying to call out to this Alaria, and only you could be sensed and felt.
And I really don't know what happened. I don't know how long all of that took, but then I awoke to Darrett, and he helped me back home. And
Well, you did it. You had many visions, which is okay if you don't remember them all, but they were pretty insane. So as you got hit, you kind of blacked out for a while.
Yeah.
And you had a bunch of crazy visions.
But
yeah, it pretty much happened. It was all quick. Darrett found you relatively quickly after you collapsed.
I remember screaming. I remember someone saying, "Will somebody just shut her up?" I remember pain.
Yeah, you were kind of in this weird, almost, mad scientist kind of dungeon. Yeah, you couldn't move, and you were basically, your blood was being taken, or something was being put in you. Yep, and then you saw visions of a black dragon kind of just destroying a bunch of things with a bunch of undead dragons.
Yes.
Yeah.
Zombie dragons. So it was horrific, but I woke up to the sweet eyes of Darrett Highwater. And he led me home, and I went back into bed with my besties, and that's where my story ends. Oh no, well, and then the next morning happened, and we saw the ship, and we went to go get the red guy's treasure. What was his name? Misko. We went to get Misko's treasure.
Yeah, I forgot about that actually. You went under the Vogler's Crossing. Yeah, and I forget, I guess we'll get to this when the session starts, but I forget exactly where you two were heading. I know that you saw Becklin and those soldiers arriving, or not, Becklin wasn't with them, but she went to meet the soldiers at the wharf, and these soldiers arrived from Calaman, and that's kind of where the session ended. So I'm pretty sure you and Melvin were the ones to see that. Yeah, I think that's it. Darrett's helped you, and from Darrett helping you, that's kind of where he starts talking to Willow, and convinces her, maybe guilts her into helping patrol. Real quick though, I'm actually gonna send. I meant to do this before. I meant to send this, but this is what the dragons that you saw in your vision looked like, Lyx, and I sent it to the text chat. I sent it to everyone. So that's what there was. What looked, the sky was being filled with those
Oh,
dragons.
Jesus.
Yeah, and they were just crushing and destroying civilizations. Yep. And so they're sort of they look undead. They seem undead, but there's something about them too, right? The powerful dark magic about them. Um, So yeah, this black dragon was commanding them to destroy countless civilizations that were then turned into deserts, pretty much. Um, okay, Willow, do you want to give it a go?
Yeah. So when they come back from Sneak's house, she kind of posts up outside. She was trying to be like a protective thing, but after just the heavy hits she took and poor rolls, she does not notice as Lyx goes past her. But she does wake up when Darrett brings Lyx back, and she feels not guilty because of Darrett, but guilty that she couldn't be there to help or stop it. So she agrees to help Darrett patrol. And while they're patrolling, they're like near some central area of the town. There's like a bar or something. There's a guy who's drunk on the street. And we see Soth from the back. And the drunk guy just has no plot armor and goes straight for him. Obviously, it does not end very well for him. Darrett, knowing that this is who made him an orphan, also charges after him, gets knocked out pretty quick. I think I went over to try to protect him while he's down, and Soth kind of grabbed me again and tried to send me somewhere, and it didn't work the first time, so he just ripped open a hole in reality and just shoved me in. And then it was like almost a water plane like thing. Like there was just a little bit of water everywhere.
Yeah, so all the floor was water, and it seemed to go on endlessly. Like everywhere you looked, it was just endless. But yeah, everything else was just light. And yeah, the water was kind of dripping every now and then, but it never got you. You were never wet by the water.
Mm-hmm. And then I think I see this huge, almost minotaur-like figure. I already can't remember the name. If you could jump in for that.
It's kind of a weird one. It's a hyphenated name. Kiri Jolith.
Kiri Jolith.
Kiri's fine too. From what you know, they don't seem to care much for titles or anything. But yeah, Kiri Jolith.
So I remember Willow thinking, like, is this real? Am I dead? What's happening? She was very confused and honestly a little scared. And then Kiri mentioned the feathered figure behind her, and she instantly calms down and relaxes. She knows that she's safe because of that. And he imbues her battle axe with some new magical thing that she gets to play with later. And then she is sent back. And that's about the last thing I personally remember.
Yeah, so it was a pretty tense scene where Darrett was seemingly going to die, yeah, I mean, it seemed like he was rushing into death. Um, and yeah, and Soth kind of toys with Darrett, right? But Darrett is able to strike Soth once, um, after he kind of yells out his parents' names, and strikes at him. Once he strikes Ispin, or once he says Ispin's name, then he's able to strike Soth. So Soth was impressed by that seemingly and was like, one day you'll be a good foe for me. And then yeah, and then you tried to save Darrett, and that's when everything else happened. One thing that you may have forgotten was that Soth actually casts a few spells on you. The first spell was the one where he looked into your soul, essentially. And this is pretty important. So Soth knows everything about you, or at least you feel like all the memories of your past that flashed before your eyes, he was linked to it, and seeing it as well. And that's actually why he spared you. He knows something about you and took you. And then yeah, it seems like you were maybe experimented on again, or not again, but like you were experimented on, and it seems oddly similar to what Lyx may have gone through, but I obviously none of you would know that connection. I'm just saying that out of character. And yeah, you made it back thanks to Kiri Jolith, kind of removing this darkness that was inside you from these experiments, and giving you these powers, to fight at range and to have some magic. You kept saying that you're a good warrior, but you still have a lot to learn, and range is one of them.
Yeah.
And I think I shared how Kiri Jolith looked, but I did send a text, on how they look again, just in case you all forgot. Really cool. I mean, it's kind of a minotaur, but they have a bison head, and yeah, they have this weird kind of astral body, these stars that keep moving around in them. Yep. And yeah, and you woke up in Mayor Raven's big house. So her house is kind of like a community center as well, and it just has a bunch of rooms and lodging, but it also has like a community kitchen. It's a really homely and inviting community space. Yeah, you woke up. Darrett was kind of knocked out on the bedroom across from you, and that's where you ran into Becklin, and then Sneak, and then yeah, and then we start. So I'm actually not too sure what you all are going to do. I think some of you might have wanted to go to the Brass Crab. Becklin was with Sneak and Willow. You all were, if you're all on Roll20, so you all were here, or Sneak and Willow, you were here, right, at the mayor's home, and you kind of were walking around to the village circle, heading toward maybe the Brass Crab. But that's when Becklin saw the ships coming in over here, and you all would have seen it too. And then Melvin and Lyx, you all came from Lyx's home over here, and you too also saw the ships and the soldiers, and then Sir Becklin kind of running up to go meet these soldiers. So I'm definitely gonna let you, as pairs, decide what you want to do. If you want to talk to other NPCs, if you want to go to see who these soldiers are, you want to go to the Brass Crab, whatever. So
I just have one quick question before we start, because I can't remember if we did this last game or not. Have we seen Kujal since she left to go check on her? Okay.
Yeah, great question. No, so the hope
And
is
were
that
we expecting her back by now? Is my
you
follow-up.
will be very soon. Very
Okay.
soon is when Kujal said basically give up on her, and the Iron Regiment if she doesn't show up. Let's say around 11 a.m. ish. It's probably pretty early, 8 a.m. ish, 9 a.m. ish. But good question. Yeah, it's a bright, sunny morning. It's kind of, a little humid outside from the previous night's rain. The floor and the streets are kind of wet. There's dew on the grass and the trees. But it's actually a pretty pleasant day, and it seems like there's no storm clouds or anything in the sky anymore. And there's these soldiers in blue and silver showing up in a couple of large-ish boats with blue and silver-ish banners. Willow, you would recognize it as the colors of Calaman, and Lyx, you would also recognize it as the colors of Calaman. So right now, our two pairs are Melvin, Lyx coming from the west, and then Sneak and Willow coming from the east. So that is where we left off. And Sir Becklin's kind of rushing over to go meet the soldiers.
Okay, so you said me and Willow are coming from the east?
Yeah, you're coming from the mayor's home, basically walking. You all were going to maybe go to the Brass Crab. That's where everyone else is. That's where Mayor Raven probably is. Kind of just the chaos, people still healing each other and trying to figure out what to do. And you actually are all unclear as to who knows what. If the people even know that there's an army. All they know for sure is the betrayal of High Hill. But yeah, you all haven't actually checked in to see yet what's going on with the general populace.
I reckon that maybe we go to the Brass Crab if that's cool with you. Willow?
I kind of wanted to go check out the army that came in, see how we might be able to strategize with that, if that even seems like it's going to help at this point. And then go to the Brass Crab, like not spend a whole lot of time there, but just kind of feel it out.
I think that's a good idea. I'll follow through with you.
Okay. So I guess we follow Sir Becklin to where the ships have just docked.
Cool. Yeah, Melvin and Lyx, you now see Sneak and Willow chasing behind Becklin to meet soldiers at the wharf, at the kind of boat docking area.
Melvin sort of looks towards Lyx and sort of definitely sees their friends kind of dart by. They noticed the soldiers too, so they're gonna sort of chase after them. Melvin's gonna be shuffling fast as their short little legs. They're kind of shuffling, but I imagine they're like holding hands or arm in arm. One of them is leading the other, and they're just trying to book it and keep up with the incredibly fast fucking Sneak, who I imagine is like, pew! And then even Willow, like, sort of moving quick with her big lumberjack ass. Anyway, so yeah, that's how we go.
I
and
imagine
see
it's like
the
Wizard of
soldiers.
Oz, like pace down the
Oh
yellow.
yeah, ease
Like,
on down that road.
Sorry, I'm chewing. Okay. Yeah, so you're all kind of awkwardly reconvening then, it sounds like.
doing the thing like, do we look at each other? Do we wave? When is it appropriate to wave?
I'm full, like, awkward, aggressively waving, like that, aggressive as hell.
I guess Melvin's gonna walk kind of up behind Becklin. Well, what do you plan to do? I mean, they have to help us, right?
And yeah, as you say that, hold up. Oh God, what am I sharing? Can you guys see? So I meant to show these during the recap, actually. This is kind of some cool art from the campaign, just kind of give you an idea of these scary reptilian people. Maybe this is kind of the vibe of right before Willow was ambushed, something like that. And yeah, this is actually that first session with Willow and Sneak. This is where the Knights of Solamnia there were killed again by these same creatures, but now we're kind of all coming full circle. And yeah, that guy in the middle was the one who almost killed you, Willow. Here they are again. The left ones are the kind of like the grunts that keep turning into stone. And then the right one is the one who almost killed you, Willow, and kind of kept blowing that horn, running around. And then we go to Melvin. You ask Sir Becklin, what we gonna do, basically. Darrett's not here. Just a reminder that, I guess, how he looks. I kind of keep pairing them together, but no, he's still resting. But yeah, Sir Becklin says, oh, "It's good to see you're well. Good morning, Melvin." And then, before anything else is said, you see this captain-looking guy. So he's wearing kind of blue silver armor. He does have a helmet on. He looks kind of young. He looks like this guy. He looks like the really cool guy from Lord of the Rings. His name is he goes, Captain Rodon, at your service, Sir Becklin. It is an honor. And then you kind of see maybe a couple dozen troops behind him also like do this like formation like whoa, whoa, Kalaman. They say something like that. And then Captain Rodon says, we hear you are being troubled in one of your nearby mountains. There's fools or something that you all need assistance in slaying. We heard about the terrible tragedy from Lord Elastrius. And we are sorry that we are so sorry that we couldn't make it earlier, but the city of Kalaman has kind of been experiencing a troubling time and our resources are thin, but we hope we're not too late and we can still be of use. And then Becklin's like kind of taken aback, just because it's been over a week, right, since Elastrius has been here. And there's a stupid ad. Dang, there's like more ads. And so yeah, it's been over a week. Oh, is that the same guy? Is he the same guy? That's cool. I didn't know that. Yeah, and Sir Becklin, you all can. You don't really need an insight check for this. You can tell that she's kind of a little nervous and maybe isn't too sure what to say. So she's kind of quiet for maybe 10, 15 seconds. And Captain Rodon is just kind of like waiting, but he was pretty stern and now he's kind of feeling a little awkward.
Melvin's just kind of looking back and forth, like, he's not going to say anything.
And then
there's a huge army. It's like you can't. There's not nearly enough men for the support that we're about to need.
I'm sorry. And you are?
Lyx Sandbottom, a long time liver in Vogler.
There's an army of ghouls, so our battalion wouldn't be enough for them?
Well, I actually didn't see it, so I'm gonna actually pop it over to my colleague Sneak, who witnessed
this army of ghouls.
There was a bunch. I don't know if they were ghouls. I don't know if they're man. I don't know if they're an animal. I don't know, but there was a lot of them.
And then Becklin is like, yes, Sneak and Lyx and Melvin and Willow here, they went to scout beyond Mount Kowamba where these ghouls are that Lord Elastrius has told you of, Captain Rodon. And I'm afraid to tell you that we have bigger problems, believe it or not, than these ghouls haunting one of our nearby cave systems. As Sneak says, it appears there's an army at our doorstep. Sneak, you said hundreds, thousands?
I'm not good with math.
So a lot. And I believe if Waywin is heard the story correct, no one else saw this army but you, Sneak. So we're really putting a lot of faith in you, Sneak, but I trust you.
In fairness, we were attacked on the way back, and they were not ghouls. They were almost draconic in nature. I've never seen anything like them, except for when we were also attacked several days ago by the same group.
Yeah,
They
so
very nearly killed me. So I hope your men are pretty strong.
To be fair, they
you all,
did look a little ghoulish. So
you all would remember that it was actually a mix in the army. You were attacked by humans, elves, and yes, these reptilian draconic beings. But there was all kinds of peoples.
And I'll also fill them in on how we were attacked at the supposed reenactment of the Battle of High Hill, so we know it's more than just that.
Right. Okay, great. So there's a deep plot to destroy and overwhelm Vogler, clearly. I see. This is more serious than what we enlisted. I only have I believe 30 men, women with me. We thought that would be suffice enough to defend your mountain and to clear it out. This is a bit, this is unexpected. And he kind of looks around like a bit nervously, and Sir Becklin looks at the troops actually, and she says, I hope you all heard that there is an army, there's a force beyond what Vogler can handle, and potentially beyond what we all can handle here. But, and then Captain Rodon kind of interjects and says, you are not alone in Vogler. You see, we've been having a bit of a refugee crisis in the city of Kalaman. People are coming in from the north, the east, the south. And now it seems that the west here is being overrun. These forces are of all different types, and the rumors don't seem to connect. It seems to be some kind of unified attack, but of different groups. Kendermore is no more. We are flooded with Kender and Kalaman right now, and the region of Kur has been overrun, and from what our sources tell us, it's just controlled by warlords and rebels, and there's this horrible armies facing them as well. It seems to be an all-out assault happening simultaneously around Ansalon. And then he kind of looks at the troops in shock, as like realization is hitting them that finally Kalaman, I mean, maybe they're a little worried about Vogler, but Kalaman, is right next to Vogler pretty much. So now there are forces. They've had these rumors in their city. They've had refugees, and Becklin is like, I see. So that's why the assistance to us has taken so long. That makes sense. And then she looks at the troops and says, I can't promise you if you stay here that you will make it out alive of this. But these people need hope. Kalaman and Vogler have been connected for centuries. And if we can do anything here, anything to even halt this force, or maybe negotiate, or figure something out, we'll need all the help we can get. And I feel it, that if Vogler is taken, then Kalaman will surely be next. And if all these forces are convening toward Kalaman, then there's no hope for it. I know that you all might have families and loved ones back in Kalaman, and I understand. If any of you need to leave, if any of you are not willing to take on this task, you may go home. But Vogler can use all the help it can take. And I'm actually
We
going to
talked.
roll a persuasion check for her. But yeah, they're
All right, I
all
want to
the
say
troops are
something after.
silent. Yeah.
Say, Ariel, we talked about maybe evacuating the city, but is there a way that maybe we could just stay down, bunker up, use the city for our defense, and then try to negotiate peace, Is there a way we can like Viet Cong it? This is Sneak also talking. You guys know what Viet Cong is. He just pulled it out of his ass, but but do some guerrilla warfare, build some traps. Is that something we could like convince our city to do? Do you think we could do that, or like even if we go, where will we go?
Well, I think we need to consult with Mayor Raven. In fact, Rodan, maybe if we go to the Brass Crab with you, we can maybe convince Mayor Raven to either fight or buy us some time. I'd like to know what she's thinking about, sir, Mr. Captain
He
Lee.
says, Captain Rodon is fine. And then he looks at Sir Becklin and all of you. And he says, I will do what I must to protect this realm. But Sir Becklin, you are a knight of Solamnia, and you are wise, and you are correct. And he looks at his men and women and the troops, and is like, if any of you wish to leave, you may. And then some of them start putting their spears on the ground and taking their helmets off. And you can tell that Becklin is pretty disappointed.
I have no problem staying and fighting, but it might be best if we move the people out of the town who can't fight because they're just likely to get caught in the crossfire. I'm not saying evacuate them permanently, but if Kelman can even take them for a little bit, that would be helpful.
For now, we could house them in the mayor's house.
I don't know if that's big enough for the whole town.
No,
it
Captain
might-
Rodon and Becklin hear that, Melvin, and they say, that's a brilliant idea, Melvin. We need to hold our cards to our hand however we can. Those soldiers of whoever among you is willing to still stay and fight, we will quarter you in secret, just in case. Just in case we're being spied on or anything is going on. We've already been betrayed in this town. I think that's excellent. Captain Rodon, actually, could you handle that? You know Mayor Raven's home. You all can create whatever living situation you need to in there, and we'll support you all.
Like the ribs protect the heart, The outer shell gotta protect the soft innards, dude. We gotta protect everybody. If they want to stay, they'll have a job to pull, but they'll be on the inside.
Yeah. So about half of them seem like they're not interested, right? About half of them drop their spears and aren't going to help. And you actually see one of them come up to Captain Rodon with his helmet in his hands, and he says, if these forces are as dastardly as these Voglins make it out to sound, I'd rather fight next to my wife and child, if that's okay, sir. And then Captain Rodon just kind of looks at him and nods. And he says, we may send some of Vogler's people with you all. Anyone who wants to leave now can go back. And then he kind of like looks again, and he's like, he kind of like whispers to himself, I'm not really good at this inspiration stuff. I wish I could convince more of you to stay. But you all can do as you will. And Errol, you can do what you wanted to do, the investigation check. You'll need to remind me. Okay, the fortifications, natural record. Yeah, go ahead and roll that investigation check.
Okay, so that's going to be an intelligence roll. Oh, come on with it.
Yeah, so like half of the troops start heading back to the ship, um, and I guess the rest are gonna go quarter in Mayor Raven's home.
Can
Um,
I can I
oh,
try
go
to
ahead.
inspire the ones to like,
Sure.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah. I was kind of
think,
being silent to let you all like, if you wanted to jump in after Becklin's speech or whatever, you certainly can.
but wait, I mean, the odds are stacked against us, but I mean, history's on our side, guys. Remember when Jay Vogler in this very town stood up against the Ishtarian Empire? Well, we could be the next Jay Vogler. I mean, he had to do what he had to do, and even with just another force, just a little bit bigger than ours, they managed to do it. Come with us to Mayor Raven's meeting at the Brass Crab, and if at the end of that you still can't conscious it, then I wouldn't blame you. But give us a chance. Give Vogler a chance.
This is amazing. Yeah, so Melvin, you've been, shy little Melvin just kind of burst out as these troops are like walking away, backs to all of you, and shouts out this little speech. Um, and I want you to roll a persuasion check at advantage because I felt inspired. So I'll give you advantage for that.
Ooh,
Oops.
18 plus 8. So like what, 26?
Amazing. And
That was
then
the
yeah,
first one.
one of them, yeah, like kind of like a tiefling looking, maybe feminine looking tiefling soldier grabs her spear from the ground and then like kind of slams it back up and she like stands back up and she says, "You're right. We can change history. We don't need to run from it. I'm staying." And then you see like, more and more of them kind of pick up the spears and they kind of look like scared, but they're starting to look at the sun and trying to look brave again as they're feeling inspired by Melvin's final call. And I'm gonna write down, um, Melvin, you helped recruit a total of 29 soldiers now. So almost all of them. The guy who came to Captain Rodon still seems like he's not going to change his mind, but he said, "I will take however many evacuees I can, but I must be with my newborn child. I cannot let it go like this." Um, and yeah, you can tell he's pretty emotional. He seems conflicted. Um, so good job. So yeah, spoilers, everything you guys do matters. I'm writing it down. So you've recruited 29 soldiers, Melvin. Okay. And then at that, Captain Rodon feels like looks kind of like straightens up again, and he says, "Melvin, I did not realize you were a general yourself or a lieutenant." Um, and he says, "You must be a knight of Solamnia as well. I will bravely fight next to you, good sir."
Me? A, a, a knight? Well, boy, you got that crossed, but I'll do my best right along with you.
And then Becklin kind of like puts her hand on your shoulder, and she says, "Thank you, Melvin. Your spirit is pure, and I always knew you. I always felt that you knew what to say at every moment. You just wouldn't say it." Um, and yeah, so are you? So they start heading toward. All the troops start heading toward the Mayor Raven's home to kind of secretly quarter themselves at Melvin and Becklin's kind of strategy there. Um, so Captain Rodon is ready to join you all and head to the Brass Crab if you wish. But you all can chat or whatever.
Did we get a good view of the area, Willow? Of the little army buggers?
You were the one who saw him, weren't you?
Well, didn't we want to go down to the goddamn thing and check out the thing and see if there's people there or something? I don't know.
This is them.
Oh,
This is them. This is the
yeah,
soldiers.
yeah. These are the soldiers.
So these are the good
Oh,
guys.
So now we're going to the brass crab.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
yeah.
These are the good
Yeah,
guys.
I knew that, Ian. No, dude, let's go.
Yeah,
Let's
these
get
are
out of
good
here,
guys.
While we're walking, Melvin has an idea. He kind of pulls probably Lyx, honestly. Sorry, Willow. No, he'll probably expand on this. So while they're walking, Melvin's kind of looking. They're walking to the west, correct?
Oh, well, now you guys would be heading north because you're at the port to head to anything.
Oh,
Unless you're going
literally
back to,
perfect.
yeah.
Perfect. Cristian, can you describe what the sort of like ridges up to that northernmost part of the map look like? How high are those? What's that tree
Yeah.
cover like on those cliffs right next to Thornwall Keep
Yeah,
at
yeah,
the
yeah,
top
yeah.
left?
Oh, someone's sharing. Okay, cool. Yeah, so this is Vogler, and I'm happy you're asking, as I'm happy to describe it all. So yeah, Vogler is everything south of it is the river. Crossing the river is Calaman, right? You get to the city of Calaman, and also to Dargard Keep, apparently somewhere out in the deep forest. So that's south. North is everything else that you guys have encountered. North, you have to go through the river gate, right? And that's how you head to the forest where you saw everything, where Sneak lives. You get to High Hill, all that is all the way north. Mount Kawamba, pretty much everything we've done. These cliffs are about 200-ish to 300-ish feet tall. They're pretty tall, depending on where you're at. There is a shoreline that Lyx and Sneak would probably know about. Just as the cliffs curve, they turn into beaches on either end. There's a prominent beach behind the map on the east side, if that makes sense. I don't know who's controlling it. Yep. So there's definitely a shore, a coast there, to enter this high, cliffy, woodsy area. Does that kind of answer your question, Melvin? So hundreds of feet tall, and it's definitely you would have a vantage point uh, at anything below, right? You would have the quote unquote high ground, quote a famous general. Um, yeah, yep. Mayor Raven's home is central. The brass crab is south of Mayor Raven's home. And also, I want to clarify real quick, because just because it's been a while, so Colton, your confusion is okay. The ghouls that I've been talking about are from the very beginning with Soth in Mount Kawamba, those like white scary monsters. Alastrius, the rich guy you guys helped, he was like, "Oh, I'll definitely send some help to help with that," and they finally got here. So basically, all these troops are like, "Oh shit, you guys don't want our help with that. You want our help with an army now or something." So that's the story. That's their story. Yeah, I'm happy to describe other questions. Thornwall Keep, right? That's where Sir Becklin and Darrett and Than live. That's where Than's gnome flinger, the giant catapult thingy, is that can fling people. It's pretty high up. It's probably, yeah, it's the highest section of Vogler, not counting the cliffs themselves. Um, is there an ahem? And yeah, I don't know. The rest is pretty cliffy. Everything more toward the north starts to get more cliffy, right? The east and west are just the pretty shorelines. Um, the west is where Lyx and her family live on the beach. Uh, and yeah.
So seeing all of that and knowing that the north kind of like cliffs, Melvin sort of taps Lyx and draws her line of sight up, kind of vaguely pointing with his hands towards that like ledge between Thornwall Keep and to the other adjacent side of like the river gate, and how like narrow but tall that part of northern Vogler is. So he's sort of pointing that out. Like he hasn't really said anything. He probably doesn't even dare to, but he's thinking and he's communicating in other ways. Maybe what he's thinking.
Well, and I was gonna say, like, before this happens, like I feel like I would have given you like a little like mouthed thank you, like very appreciative for what you did because you did something that, you know, Lyx couldn't do but wish that maybe they could have. So that was really special. And then yeah, so I kind of like look at you, look at the cliffside, look at you, and I'm like, maybe? I don't know. Like, what? Are we doing a cattle drive? I don't know.
Melvin just kind of puts his hand in his face. Fuck. And he just kind of keeps on walking. So I guess we'll explain it. I mean, it's a loving like fuck, but I'm cooking. I'm cooking here, Lyx. Like you on a special, like your Tuesday special. I'm fucking cooking.
I like it.
Nice.
I like it. Let me know how I can help.
Alrighty, so you're all heading to the Brass Crab now. Yeah, and Melvin, I'll add with that train of thought that Melvin has, I'll say that maybe you also think like that's a, you know, those cliffs could be useful, but they could also be useful for the enemy, right? That's a vantage point for them if they control it first. That's just kind of a thought, that a connecting dot, I guess, to reward your line of thinking. So we're going to the Brass Crab? Oh yeah, and by the way, the marketplace like still looks like the Kingfisher Festival, right? Except, you know, the vendors are gone, but there's beautiful banners everywhere. No one's taken them down. There's Kingfisher, you know, cutout birds and paper mache and all this beautiful stuff. But unfortunately, you know, it's all kind of gloomy now and semi-apocalyptic. Yeah, it looks like our good friend Zabla may or may not be around. But yeah, you all head back to the Brass Crab then. And you enter, and it's still pretty chaotic. There's still most of Vogler is in here, so about, you know, 300, 400-ish people are in Vogler, you would think, Lyx, right? Yeah, there's a lot of people here. You could see Mayor Raven kind of on stage trying to talk to people, talking to all kinds of people. You don't really need a perception check to see that the Bacarises are here and they're looking pretty upset in a little corner. They kind of have like a group around them as well. Yalma is trying to get some kind of food and things going with some of the cooks in Bogler, like Brotar. Um, and yeah, you guys kind of see almost everyone. The only people you wouldn't see here are the ones that are recovering still, like Darrett, Buff, right? Buff almost died at the High Hill reenactment. That guy whose hand was cut off by Soth just yesterday night, he's not here. But yeah, pretty much everyone else you could think of in Vogler is here, except Melvin, noticeably not Hannah and Audrey. But yeah, it's commotion, just people talking everywhere, just chairs rustling and lots of chatter. And then Becklin's like, see, things haven't changed here. And she says, we should go address the mayor and start talking about our potential strategies here and hope that Kujal arrives at some point. So yeah, Mayor Raven kind of, or sorry, Sir Becklin kind of like pushes through the crowd, helps kind of create an opening for you all as you make it to Mayor Raven on the stage. Mayor Raven looking pretty stressed, but trying to keep it together. She says, "Oh, it's good to see you all. I'm happy that you all survived that horrible ordeal. And I hope that Darrett was able to get you all your compensation that you so deserve." Um, and Yeah, and then I guess to speed things up, we can just say that, you know, through all of you, you kind of share the news of Captain Rodon and the soldiers that you all have. And Mayor Raven is kind of quiet to this, but then she immediately says, Vogler will not go to war. and she looks at Sir Becklin and says, "We will not fight. We do not know who they are, and if they are thousands, as Sneak says, we need to negotiate a peace. And I'm actually drafting a letter right now. We will not fight. I am not going to endanger the citizens of Vogler."
I, I see where you're coming from, and peace is definitely something we should talk about. However, we should prepare for war. Like, we should have some sort of line of defense just in case. Peace should be the forefront of our minds. But we don't know them, as you said. So they may be grimy little bastards. They may just want to kick us when we're down. We have to think of every outcome.
We do not know what war they are trying to bring, or if Vogler is their intention, or if they're simply heading north. We don't know their intentions, unless you all have information I don't.
I'm going to
If
say
they're
that I never thought I'd say this, but I agree with Sneak. I don't think that we're going to be able to negotiate a peace if they have an idea that we aren't willing to fight. I think we're going to have to make a statement to get to that point, if we can even get to that point.
if they're passing through, pass on through.
And as you all are kind of saying this, Becklin is pretty quiet. But then suddenly, the doors kick open to the Brass Crab. And you all see a small, brown-skinned dwarf with heavy armor. And she's looking a little better. And she is with someone. So we have Kujal Ironsmile, the leader of the Iron Regiment, is back, looking kind of more confident, a little more at peace, but looking stern. And then looking even more stern is this humanoid, masculine looking individual with a pipe, a noticeable pipe in his mouth. Looks very stern and very serious and grumpy, bald with that red chin strap, very roguish appearance. Kind of a similar outfit maybe to what Sly wears, Sneak's sister. And they kind of start walking up to all of you. The other people of Vogler are kind of taken aback that Kujal's actually back. And they have no clue who this person with her is. And Becklin immediately kind of like rushes down the stairs and picks up her friend, hugs her, and lifts her up. And it's a very warm and sincere embrace. And Kujal is also quite happy. And Kujal's like, "I told you I'd make it back." Becklin is just looking very joyous, happier than she's been in a while. She's like, "It's so good to see you." And then Kujal says, "Yeah, wish I could say the same, but I have some updates. But who wants to go first? You all were doing some shit too." And do you all just kind of tell her everything? Yeah, so there's some time that passes by. You all kind of share everything that's happened, and Kujal kind of just says, "It all lines up then. Jayev here is my lieutenant of scouts. He and Gorganis were both of my lieutenants. Jayev I put in charge of our camp during the reenactment, and he's been one of my most trusted mercenaries for many years. He was able to intercept and capture some of the scum that was fleeing the battlefield. Some of them were trying to get back into the camp and play off what happened. But he's a smart guy, and him and a few of my other most loyal mercenaries were able to interrogate and corroborate the claims that Sneak here, our friend, got from Svelte. It's the same shit. Gorganis was paid off by some mysterious army. And it's probably this army that you all saw, because Jayev over here also went scouting last night and saw what you saw sneak. So now
I
Mayor
fucking
Raven's
knew it.
kind of like taken aback, as she realizes how serious and like all these claims coming together from different sources. Yeah, and this guy, he hasn't said anything really, and he kind of like takes his pipe out and he's like, "Yup, big fucking army," and then starts smoking again. Um, and and then Becklin says, "Kujal, are you sure you can trust whoever's left in your regiment?" And she's like, "They would have killed me if they weren't trustworthy, and we already took care of the ones who were traitors." Um, and then Jayev's like, "Listen, I follow the coin, but also I ain't here to kill no innocents." Um, and then, yeah, Mare Raven's kind of quiet as she is scared. You know, she seems scared. She seems like it's starting to hit her. Um, and then
I'm gonna
Kuja
just go
looks
up
at,
to her and hold her hand real quick, though. I'm gonna just go hold her hand.
yeah, she takes your hand and holds it tightly, actually. Oh, and just as a reminder, that's Mare Raven. But yeah, so Kujo just says, "All right, well, whose asses are we kicking, Becklin? What do you want us to do?"
Well, how many are left? How many are left at your camp?
We have about to keep the number clean. Say there's 21,
Okay.
counting Kujo. Kujo's the one. So 29 plus 21. Then Mare Raven is like, "I still think I really do wish we could negotiate. Is there any way we can get some kind of letter to or a message to this army? Jayev or Kujal, would any of you be willing to do such a thing?"
I would even go give that letter to them because ultimately we still we don't have a lot of people. So we should ultimately negotiate peace. So yes, I agree we should try to get this letter out.
I also feel like this is the kind of army where don't shoot the messenger is not something they're above.
That's a great point.
As you say that, you all hear from the river gates, "Whoa, whoa, whoa," as it sounds like the same horn that you heard in the woods. And then Becklin kind of gets ready and looks at Kujo and nods and like kind of rushes out.
Willow's going to run
And
to the nearest window, door, whatever gets her a line of sight outside where it was.
it'd be a little hard. From here, the sound's coming northward, so you wouldn't really see it. There's a bunch of buildings and trees in the way.
Is this not an establishment that goes high enough
what
that
we
I could see
doing?
over?
Sorry, what were you saying, Willow?
Sorry, I was just seeing, I figured the brass crab has, levels. Is there a way that I could, run up and get a view?
Okay. Yeah, it's a great idea. Yeah, so you run up the stairs. Yeah, and you could see. Okay, yeah, this is great. Do a
I'm gonna
perception
follow.
check, actually. Okay, anyone who follows Willow can do a perception check at the top of the stairs. And just tell me if you can, if it's possible. I'm just moving around a lot of screens.
It is. Did you see mine?
Oh, did you do it on Roll20 or
Yeah,
on the chat? Oh, okay, cool. Perfect. Okay, yeah.
I think it's
So
the 19.
Yep. So you both see a soldier in red and black armor, really good looking armor, on a very beautiful looking war horse, not too different from yours, Willow. And they're standing at the if you're on roll 20, they're standing or on their horse at the fish river gates. So the two giant wooden statues of the fish at the very entrance of Vogler, pretty much. They're there. And it seems like a small crowd is forming around this person. And it looks like they're shouting at them. And then she grabs, or yeah, they grab the horn again, this kind of like bone-ish looking thing, and blow it again. And you can now probably see Becklin and Kujal and Jayev, the new bald rogue scout guy, rushing that way. And Mayor Raven finally kind of gets herself together and starts going that way as well.
Hey,
like
hey, Willow. Okay, sorry. Hey, Willow, do you think there's any way I could like, maybe you could just like throw me, and maybe I could go scout out real quick, like maybe what we're dealing with real quick? Do you think that's a good idea, or do you think I should just hold down here? What do you think? What are we thinking right now? Because we seeing this.
It depends on how much damage you can take if you don't land well.
That's a good point. I'm nimble. Okay, well, nonetheless, maybe
You want to try it? I'll try it. I'm just saying it's. Don't want to say it's your funeral, but.
So you're thinking of like opening a window and getting launched through it?
Oh, I thought he was asking me to throw him like upward just to get the look. Are you trying? Do you want me to throw you forward?
Yeah, I want you to throw me forward, maybe, so I can like maybe hit on some buildings.
Yeah, there's definitely
and try to scout forward.
There's buildings and rooftops that you could potentially reach, Sneak. It's definitely possible. And Lyx and Melvin, I'm assuming you're still downstairs. The crowd's kind of getting like what the hell's going on?
Well, okay.
But sorry, let's do. I just want to remind Lyx and Melvin when you're at. Let's do the Sneak Willow first.
Okay. Here's the thing. If you and me see this, we're on the roof real quick. I can go and get a scout number. If you could just sit here and see how many numbers I pull up, like if I pull up like a shit ton, if I go like that might mean a lot, you know? Can we work something out, or do you think it's just not a good idea to do that at all? I need your honest opinion, Willow.
I think if you're jumping from rooftop to rooftop and you're just throwing numbers back at me, I think that'll work fine. If you want me to launch you forward, I feel like you will either grossly overestimate or fall very, very short. So I would go on your own accord.
Well, can you just like launch me to the next roof?
Sure. Let's try it.
Yeah. All right, let's try it.
Let's definitely try.
We're going to try to peep out the game so I can see it, get as much information as I can. So,
the way we'll do this is, Willow, you do an athletics check. Sneak, you do an acrobatics check.
Athletics.
As you open the window.
So I got 14.
Okay. That's thanks to Willow's amazing throw, though. You're good, and you actually land well. You kind of do like a little roll onto just to the north over here. And you know what, Sneak? I'll say that you do good enough. You're a little clumsy. You're not as cool as maybe you were hoping, but you're kind of going across the rooftops pretty quickly. Are you trying to perceive then, Sneak? You're trying to like look around and see. You're trying to scout the area basically and scout ahead.
Yeah.
Scout the hills.
So maybe as I'm on the roofs, like maybe I'm trying to glance at different exits in the cities and just seeing if they're being taken over while I'm like maybe running to the main thing. So I'm just trying to be observant as possible, for sure.
Cool. Since you are running fast, I'm actually going to say do a perception check at disadvantage unless you're trying to slow down.
Okay. So perception.
Oh, it's great. You got the same thing. You got the same thing
14,
twice.
14. Cool.
Okay, that's pretty okay.
It's okay, yeah. I'll take it.
So you are certain that the messenger at the gate seems to be totally alone, or this person, whoever it is, this soldier, seems to be totally alone. But you're also like, this is the same type of armor we've seen. This is the same army. Kind of glancing around the rest of the town really quickly, looking at the rooftops. You don't notice any figures. You don't notice anyone else up here except for yourself. You you kind of look at the cliffs of Vogler to the north, but it's a little difficult because they are pretty high up for you to tell if there's anything up there. But yeah, as far as you can tell, the town actually looks pretty safe. All the entrances look okay. No ships are coming from behind or from the east and the west. Um, so it really does look like this lone soldier at the river gate.
Okay, then I may just pump my brakes and then just turn around and go back and tell Willow what I said. And so if I can like scream it at her before, or if I can like give her a hint of like how many people. Well, I saw that one person, so if I'm just like one person or whatever.
Sure. Yep.
All right.
So yeah, Willow, you see this little Kender on a rooftop just wagging their finger around, and you kind of pick up. Okay, I guess it's just one. That's all that Sneak can see.
I
All
think
right.
knowing that it's only one, according to Sneak, she's going to not even wait for him to get back. She's just immediately going to go downstairs, tell all the townspeople, stay here, we're going to handle this, and then go off after them in case they need backup. I don't think it's a trap, but just in case, I want to make sure Mayor Raven and the rest of them are covered.
Melvin, follow out the door.
Okay. Cool. So Sneak's kind of got this head start on Melvin and Willow. Lyx, I'm not sure if you're following. Just go ahead and share if you are. But yeah, Sneak, you make it first. You make it first to this small crowd of people kind of forming around the gates at this mysterious figure. You see Mayor Raven, obviously, and Kujal, Sir Becklin. You see them. And then you hear this person say, "Who speaks for this town?" And then after a slight pause, Mayor Raven kind of like puts her hand up and like walks forward. And then this person says, "I have a message for you from Balafaion, the voice of Takesis. You best heed their words." And she kind of gives Raven this scroll, little parchment scroll. That's a message. Sneak, I'm assuming that you kind of like hop down, or are you trying to stay on the roof still? Okay, Colton might be gone. I'm gonna assume that Sneak jumps down just to join the crew. Yeah, and we can pause
No,
now.
I'm sorry. I had to do something really quick. No, yeah, I'll be on this roof still. I'm gonna stay kind of.
You're gonna stay on the roof and kind of observe. Okay, cool. So yeah, Mayor Raven kind of reads this message, and Willow, I'll say that you arrive, and kind of see the scene, the crowd kind of like looking a little fearful, and Becklin is looking also kind of quiet and contemplative. From what you can tell, Willow, Kujal is starting to look angry, as Mayor Raven is pretty open to show you the note that they received. And I'm actually just going to text you all what it is. Eventually, you'll get it. And we'll end on that. Or we'll pause on this. So we'll take a 10-minute break. But I texted you all what the message is. People of Vogler, by the orders of Balafaion, the voice of Takesis, you will quarter the soldiers of the invincible Red Dragon army this night. Refuse and die. This is the Dragon Queen's will. So that is the message, and I texted it to you all, and we'll take a 10-minute break. So we'll return at 8:17. We're recording. Yeah, so Takesis symbol, and yeah,
Wait,
you
go back.
all...
Who's Takesis? For the benefits of our viewers.
Yeah, Takesis is the god of dragons. She goes by many names across the universe, supposedly. Her most famous being Tiamat, But yeah, she is the Dragon Queen, the Shadow Queen, the five-headed chromatic god of evil and destruction and power. Yeah. And I'll say I think your characters wouldn't know too much about her besides, oh, she's evil, some evil god. Just everything Ispin kind of shared. But yeah, this messenger has that symbol on her armor. And Mayor Raven kind of looks at this messenger and grabs one of her own notes, her own parchment. She's like, "Could you please deliver this and as a declaration of peace from Vogler? I'm Mayor Raven." And like the messenger kind of snatches it out of her hand and like kind of opens it up and like glances at it, and then she like rolls it up and says, "Oh yeah, I'll get this out to them." And then she kind of looks at the citizens of Vogler, and she looks at everyone and says, "You would do well to bend the knee to the Dragon Queen and to the invincible Red Dragon Army." And everyone's kind of like, what the hell's going on?
And what if we don't?
The second you say that, she puts one of her hands up, and out from the cliffs, you see crossbows peeking out of the trees and the bushes. And she says, "I'm so glad you asked, you little new nesty. If any of you try to leave or seek aid, you will be shot down on sight. You will quarter our troops tonight, and you will bend the knee." And then she goes off on her horse. It's just kind of like a hiya, as the crossbows kind of peek back into the cliffs. Sneak, since you're on the roofs, I'm gonna let you do another perception check. Let's see if you were able to catch them. Oh Lord, a natural one. No.
No,
God
it's a
damn it.
14. It's a
I
14.
totally missed those dudes. No. It was
The
it was
three.
the three.
And it's red, so that means it was a natural one.
Why?
It was a critical fail. No, Sneak.
Sorry, y'all.
Fuck, Sneak, why do you not notice them at all? Are you just so focused on the messenger?
Yeah, it was. I seen one dude, and that was enough. That's all I needed to see.
Yeah, okay, that's okay. So yeah, the messenger leaves.
So Christian, question,
yeah.
excuse me. So looking on the map on Roll20, so the crossbows were coming from this area here.
Yeah, let me head on over there. Let me get this. Yep, so yep, exactly. From like above there. We'll say there's maybe some closer trees. But yeah, you could see some peeking over just on that area, and definitely not on the left side here with Thornwall Keep, as far as you all could tell.
Well, I think the town would be pretty shocked from
Okay.
there. Melvin would look to Lyx.
Are we gonna go back to the brass crab or?
Mayor Raven says,
I'm sorry, can you remind me who all is standing with us?
all the leaders, pretty much. Every leader.
So Beckling, Kujal, Raven.
Yeah.
And Roden.
Yeah, Captain Rodon is here too.
Rodon.
Actually, he was kind of stealthing. He was actually kind of stealthing, but he's nearby. He kind of like appears a bit more and kind of takes off his helmet. Tries to look a little more normal.
I mean, I don't know how we can host them. We can't trust them.
I'm gonna come down for a second. I'm gonna zoom from the ceiling down to the area. Okay.
Who shows? Yeah, we'll say that someone shows you the note too.
Okay.
Maybe you just snatch it out of whoever had it last.
Okay, you're right. We can't trust them. We cannot. We cannot. However, we may not be able to beat them up front. What are the odds? Like, okay, two things I guess I have to say. First off, they come from the forest and high up above. We have a lot of water around us, and maybe we could use that for our advantage. Second thing is maybe we can work from the inside and take down the voice of kinesis from within. I don't know. Throwing
And
that
how
out there.
exactly do you propose this?
Okay, well, maybe
I'm glad.
we have like we set up barriers within the water to like at least have some sort of torrential gain because yeah, they have the high ground, but we got the low ground and maybe even the low ground, you know? And then so if we set that up and then we say, hey, yeah, well, we just won't like, we won't fight you, but we send in like me, my family's full of spies. Maybe we can go in and like see how their organization works and then eventually tear it down. I mean, this is gonna probably take 20 years at least. It's an idea.
Kujal actually looks at you, Sneak, and says, I like the way you're thinking. We should use the waterways, that's for sure. I can't reach the Iron Regiment. They can't come in if those soldiers are up in the hills. I say a small group of us tries to get up there somehow and takes them out so I can get my men and women here and we can have a fighting chance with the soldiers of Calaman. And then Mayor Raven's like, she's kind of in shock actually. And Becklin is quiet too.
May I do a
But
perception check on
Kujo seems quite willing to fight. Who are you trying to do a perception check on?
Mayor Raven? I didn't like the Melvin was perhaps trying to like catch her vibe. Maybe he's
So you want to do an
looking
insight check then?
insight.
Sure. Yep, go ahead.
I got a 9.
I mean, from looking at her, like she just looks scared. She seems like this is beyond her. This is beyond anything she's ever dealt with.
Mm.
And you feel like you still trust her, because she's the one who welcomed you when you first got here. She's been here in Vogler for her whole life. She's a relative of Jay Vogler, right? Ancestor. Well, I guess all supposedly. Yeah, she just seems, yeah, for lack of a kinder word, she seems a little weak, maybe a little scared. And she's like, I don't think we can fight. I don't want to put the people of this city in danger. If we start a war with them, we're going to lose.
Damn, we might.
Kujo's like, then what are you thinking? You trying to get out of here?
I mean, for me, from the get go, this has been a we need to evacuate situation.
For me, like most of my family have died for stuff like this. So I'm kind of ready to die for stuff like this.
Well, Lyx, you're from Vogler. What do you think we should do?
I mean, you heard Captain Rodon. The whole continent is falling apart. So it's like, okay, we run just to keep running. But Kujal,
Right?
who do we need to take out? Like, how many people do you want to take out? Like the whole army in order to get your people through?
No, just whoever's in the cliffs. They can't have their whole army in the cliffs already. We would know. They would already be here. It's probably just a few stragglers. We take them out, and then I can get my forces on those cliffs and turn the tides on them.
All right, where's
He's like,
Than?
I've led rebellions in Kaolin. I'm confident.
Where's Than?
Becklin says he's at the keep. He's at Thornwall Keep. I think he's just working on his thing.
I think he should use his thing on me and maybe sneak.
So you
And
two would be willing to launch over? And then Cujo kind of looks at you two and she's like, I like that spirit. Fuck it, I'm in too.
Well, I bought something kind of weird from Zoblob.
Yeah.
I bought a potion of invisibility. And I was thinking anything I carry is also invisible. So I was thinking I'd hold Sneak in my arms
Oh
as
shit.
we fling.
Oh shit. Invisible beings get flung into the woods. And then Becklin laughs. And she kind of looks at you all. And she says, I'm sorry I've been so quiet, but I agree with Willow. The moment I heard the news, we have to escape. I've helped lead rebellions in Kaolin with Kujul, and I fought in the civil wars of Urgoth, where I met Yalme. I've seen these kind of tactics. They're lying. Mayor Raven, they're lying. They're just here to destroy us. They're here to take over. We're just a speck on the dot of their conquest. Their goal is Calaman. And we're running out of time. We need to get everyone out of here, Mayor.
Okay, you're right. Where do we go? Where should we go? Yeah, let's run. Let's go. Where are we going?
And then Mayor Raven breaks and starts crying. And
Melvin starts to like kind of Mayor Raven. He's
And then-
actually kind of surprised he said it. He's like, oh,
or is it like a kind of like an angry or like a frustrated?
kind of
Mayor
a
Raven?
frustrated, and then I think it's kind of surprised Melvin.
Yeah, okay, cool. And she
He's
looks
gonna
up at
grab
you like
Lyx's
surprised by
hand
that.
and kind of squeeze Lyx's hand because he's a nervous being. Well, if Vogler's in the path of conquest, then these people aren't going to have any problem bowling over Vogler, all of us. We need to think about your great grandfather, sire,
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Jay Vogler. He too stood up against the army. The Astarian Empire, he stood. These same walls, these same town has seen off an attack like this before. Like we said, like Cudgel said, in the meanwhile, while we fling Lyx and sneak over there, I need women, children, men helping to construct these barriers. I need people gathering stones and sticks to like throw at them, help themselves. He's kind of flustered, and I guess that's at all now, like all that Melvin would have the balls to say. He's actually kind of like told Mayor Raven like marching orders.
Yeah. And Mayor Raven finally looks up and she's like, you're right. I am a Vogler. Even though I'm not a knight or anything like that. I'm here to protect these people. I'm gonna go to the bell. I'm gonna ring it. I'm gonna tell everyone what's going on. And we're gonna get people out of here and do what we can to defend our city. And then Captain Rodon says, I will stay with you, Mayor. And then Becklin looks at you, Lyx, and Sneak, and says, Lyx, are you sure you're willing to do this dangerous task? It sounds like a brilliant idea. And then she says, maybe Kujal can fit along with you as well with Sneak if she's a capable warrior.
Oh, I mean, I want all the help I can get.
I am very scared.
Yes.
No, you're not. You're a kinder.
YOLO.
Right? Kinders have to say YOLO.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is so Sneak, Lyx, and Kujal will take the catapult, the gnome flinger, launch themselves while invisible to the high cliffs of Vogler. Maybe figure out how many of these people there are, and then I guess ambush them. That's the goal.
Yeah, I mean, like maybe just get as much information as we can, sneak
Yeah, yeah,
in,
yeah.
recon.
So you guys are, but you guys want to launch at the Cliffs Forest, right? Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
That's
Okay.
also the craziest shit I've ever heard. Like, yeah, let's just catapult these two people with this invisibility spell. It's fine. I'm so
Uh,
hype.
What's even crazier is I'm like, yes.
Willow and Melvin, what are you two gonna do then? So Mayor Raven wants to go to the village circle, ring the bell, and just kind of corral everyone and get everyone to work together and maybe get the boats going. You know, everyone grab their possessions, and then yeah, whoever can help with provisions, barriers, whatever clues or whatever strategy you have, um, that can be the next thing. So yeah, full discretion what you all want to do.
Um, let's
Let's do preparation for defensive Vogler, then we'll switch to y'all taking out the cliffhangers.
So you're gonna head with
Okay.
Mayor Raven then and ring the bell and rally all of Vogler to the village circle.
Yeah, you know
let,
what? That's what Melvin's gonna probably be best at, I guess.
Okay. You guys can do whatever you want.
Willow is going to recommend we not do that because they said specifically if we retaliated or tried to escape, that they would shoot. So maybe don't ring the bell. Maybe let's all just head back to the crab.
Okay, so do you tell Mayor Raven this?
Yeah.
And okay, she kind
Well,
of go ahead.
well, what? How does the army expect her not to gather her citizens? How does she expect them marching? Well, what they think are not marching orders to be made. We got to get the town together.
Why don't you roll a persuasion check, Willow, if you want to follow this line of thought, or both of you do. If and feel free to add more to it.
Ooh, is this what happens when the characters disagree?
Makes sense.
both of you roll.
I like it. I think you both are
Persuasion.
proposing valid points.
Oh my gosh. Sorry.
That's good.
Okay, so it's a 6. Okay. So Melvin, what'd you get? You're muted.
1 second, roll 20 is coming. Persuasion.
Yeah. Oh shit. Okay. So yeah, the way this goes is
Oh,
Mayor Raven looks at you, Willow, and says, I really appreciate your strategic hesitance here, but I think Melvin's right. They should assume I'm just telling the village what's going on. No one will be bringing arms, and the village circle is tucked in beneath a lot of buildings. Unless they're among us already, which is possible, I think we'll do okay. And I can't run anymore. I can't run from this anymore, even though I'm running. And then she kind of looks at you and says, "Ah, I wish I had one of Lyx's fish pies right now." Um,
those are good.
There might be a few at my dad's house. You could send a pigeon their way.
We'll see. I don't. That isn't so important right now. But maybe if we make it all out of this, I would love one of your pies again, Lyx. That would be heavenly. Oh God, I miss normal life. Okay. And then she kind of like gets her like a little bit of her charm back, a little bit of her glow as she starts hustling to the village circle. Um, okay. So Sneak and Sneak, Kujal, and Lyx, you all kind of run up Thornwall Keep, you run up the stairs, the spiral staircase, you make it to the very top where Than is just tinkering with the gnome flinger. You can tell that he seems pretty nervous, so he probably knows most of what's been happening and probably peeked over at the events right below. Um, so, and Lix, you would know, like when he's nervous, he kind of like tinkers a lot, and that's kind of what Bill Bricks would do too. It's kind of a rock gnome slash never mind gnome thing to do. So he kind of looks at you two. He's like, "Oh, hey guys, good to see you two. What's up? Oh, Kujal, you're alive! Yay!"
Hey, Than. Do you know what has just transpired?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so Kujal, Sneak, and I need you to fling us to where you may have just seen all the enemies.
Oh, really?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, we're nervous, but we're in it
You guys
now.
are like heroes.
Let's try and just like
And then Kujal kind of like pushes through you too, and she's like, "You're damn right." And then she like kind of like puts herself on the thing. She's like, "All right, how do you do this shit?" And he's like, "Oh yes, okay, yeah, I love this part. Yeah. So get strapped on in. Oh yeah. Shoot, oh yeah, you should put this on or you might die." And then he like grabs the Nary Crashers, the parachute backpack things. And then she's like, okay. And she like puts it on, and she's like, "I can hold you two. Just come on in."
We're fairly small.
Yes, you are. And Kujal's very strong, even though she's a dwarf. So I'll still roll for her, I guess, for 15 gigs. Okay, 19. She's good. Um, so so how does the potion work?
So I drink it, and then I have an hour of invisibility and like anything I'm holding. So I'd like to think that we could make it work in a way that if I'm like holding onto Kujal, who's holding on to Sneak, we could
Yeah.
all. But once we unlink, they would be visible, and I would be the only one invisible.
Either that, or I could
really?
like ride on you like a
Okay.
backpack, or like you know what I mean. Like,
exactly.
true.
That's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking, that you could do a maw situation.
Okay. So you can drink it now, like as you're getting launched, basically. So there's like no visuals.
Well, I want to drink it before we're strapped in.
Okay.
Because I don't want, I mean, I'm sure even if they saw what Than was doing, they wouldn't understand it because it's kind of a new weird thing. But I don't want to see us like interact in it.
that's fair, and that's a good point. But I may want to argue, why not drink it when we straight get there? Do you think it'd be better?
Well, but we're like birds in the sky.
That's a good point.
I want to make
How long does this last? Is like an hour?
1 hour.
Or until you do an action as well?
No.
No, so like, and by action I mean like if you attack someone or cast a spell,
you'll be seen. That's fair.
You will be seen. The invisibility will wear off.
Yeah, so if like you punch them in the face, eventually they'll see you.
But this is still good. You'll still be able to hear.
So an hour
everything they
is
say.
still fine. Yeah, we're running scout. We're not. Hopefully, we're not going to attack them. So okay, I'll agree. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's a good idea.
I'll say
Okay,
that
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Sorry.
Yeah, you can't attack and then like keep kind of going. It's not that powerful.
Yeah.
You can get in one good ambush though. You can definitely like really fuck.
Or maybe
them up.
even sabotage something, right? Like maybe
that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I think we'll just link on tight.
Cool. Yeah, and so Than is just doing all these crazy little gear switches. It actually takes kind of a bit to get it going.
Hugs for all my friends. Come on.
So you drink the potion. Oh, and also I don't want to miss that that Willow did say a little goodbye to you too. She gave you a small side hug, Lyx, and a sneak. You got a head pat before you all headed up. I mean, you are literally flinging yourselves into danger. So that is just a little sweet thing there. But you know, being grabbed by Kujal, feeling her strong arms, you two kind of feel calmer. You feel, and she seems like she's ready to roll. Nice. All right, so Lyx, you drink the potion, and Harry Potter style, you know, Frodo with the ring style, just gone. And Dan is like, "Wait, you guys are still there, right?"
Yeah.
Oh shit. Okay, that's awesome. Okay, I guess I'm gonna launch you. I got it aimed right, I think.
Aim well, please.
Okay. Here I go. And then he pulls the lever. And you all go flying. Up above. The fish gates. The trees below. And then you start going slowly, slowly, slowly. And now I want you both to roll a stealth check at advantage because you're invisible. So both of you roll stealth checks at advantage. Oh, thank God, it's at advantage, because Kujo rolled a nat 1 on one of them. Holy shit, nice sneak. Good
18.
stuff. Hell yeah. Okay, that's super high. So the average is really high with your team. You're all kind of like holding hands still, right? Because the second you unlink, I'm sure that you discuss the specificities of the potion, and like maybe like thematically we can imagine that Zoblob like really gave you the intricacies at some point. And he's like, it's really cool. You could touch anyone. You know, you kind of like remember all of that.
I feel like on the bottle, like his face is on it. The
Yeah,
instructions and side effects are all like
yeah, it's kind of like
lavender font.
Yeah, but it's like he has the instructions only when they're purchased. So when you purchased it, they appeared, and it's kind of like you cheating on a test with the water bottle, and there's like the notes or whatever. It's like that on the inside of this potion. Um, yeah, you guys are flying above. The wind feels great. The sun is in the sky. It looks beautiful. It looks like a great day. You know, maybe you both are sad that you didn't do this more often with Than. He always talked about like, hey, you want to get flung? You want to get flung? You want to get flung? So he's more than happy to do some flinging. And you land. And okay. Let me think about how I want to do this real quick. Nah, you know what? Fuck it. All right, so you land in the woods, and can you do a perception check? So you're invisible. You're totally invisible. Yeah, yep, you too. And we'll say that you three kind of established maybe like a signal thing, maybe, or like a very good whisper. Looks like Sneak got a natural 20.
Nice. I got
Amazing.
19.
So did Kujal. Holy shit. So you guys are killing it. So all of you know and you hear this. You see 3 guards or 3 soldiers in the armor. They all look humanoid actually. One of them's like has a cigar, he's kind of smoking. They all look pretty gruff. One of them's like a female with dark skin. And yeah, and the other are 2 male humanoids, humans. Look kind of gross. They're kind of like leaning on the trees. They look really casual. And you know, they have the crossbows kind of on the trees as well. They're not like really holding them. And you guys, especially you, Sneak, you hear all this. You hear, can you believe this? This is gonna be the easiest town we swipe. This is gonna be a joke. They really think that there's more than just us 3 up here. This is gonna be fool's play. And then you hear the woman say, "Yeah, I'm gonna kill Sir Becklin and Darrett, both of them, and then I'm gonna take their heads to Consaldi, and Consaldi's gonna promote me. Ooh, I can't wait. She won't even need to show up when we tear this place apart." And then the other one's like, "Consaldi doesn't give a shit about you or us. We're just soldiers. We're just in this ship for the safety and the money. Who gives a fuck?" Um, He's like, could one of you at least try to pretend that we're looking over this fucking cliff? I know that they're just a bunch of hillbillies, but you never know. And then the woman's like, fine, and she kind of like walks over and like is peeking over the cliffs and just kind of looking around at Vogler. As the other two guys are just kind of like seemingly chatting the shit. They look really calm. They just revealed that it's just them and that there's no other soldiers in these cliffs. Um,
Okay. How close are we all together?
you're holding each other.
We're still like hugging each other.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Lyx will stay invisible, but the second you let go of her, you and Kujal will not. Right, Lyx? I'm understanding that correctly?
Yep. Yeah, I
Okay.
mean, I was thinking, I mean, we got a whole hour, so we can kind of sit and see if anything else gets revealed for a few
Oh
minutes.
shit.
No,
Okay, so you
that's a great idea. And also, like, I don't know, because there's three of them, if maybe we could just like bottle around and see like how much of their camp is around. If we can go back with enough information of like how big their base is and how big their camp is, maybe we can surround and just knock them out before anything begins. I don't
Kujal
know.
kind of signals to you both. Maybe you all kind of like walk away at a pretty safe distance,
Do
and
you
she
feel
still.
like do you feel like because all three of us are invisible, we see each other? I actually didn't. How does that work?
I don't think so. No, I don't think so. I think you're just holding each other.
Okay.
But Cujo kind of like holds tight, like does a signal that she wants to like walk away and chat. So you're all still invisible, but you're further away, at a good distance from earshot. You don't see any more soldiers, so it seems like what they said is true. And then she tells you guys, she says, "What are we doing? Let's just kill them." And then you say what you suggested. You want to like kind of keep hearing them out. You want to scout further.
I want more information.
I think there's potential for us to learn more, and we have a little bit of time.
Could we wait until darkness and maybe just like maybe pick them off and then I can interrogate them? So maybe like we could pick them one by one, send them to different areas, and I can do some interrogation or something.
And then Cujo's like, "I don't know if we have time for that, and I need to get my men and women here. This is an easy opportunity to knock them out and get situated. But we can wait a little longer." And as she says that, the bells start ringing in town. So let's cut to Willow and Melvin as Lyx and Sneak kind of sit on all that information and keep thinking of what you want to do. Um, And actually, why don't we take, unless Willa and Melvin, you're ready to roll, why don't we take another like quick like 5 minute break just because I wanted to do it. I want to do more breaks again. Is that okay? Just 5 minutes. Uh, yeah. So, all right. So who wants to go? Do we want to do Willow, Melvin? Okay. So you make it to the town square, and the bell is there. Do either of you want to ring it? No? Okay. So Mayor
Willow
Raven kind
still
of,
thinks ringing the bell is not the right call, but
that makes sense. Yeah. So Mayor Raven kind of asked Captain Rodon to do it. And he kind of goes, and it's this big, pretty bell. Lyx, or if anyone wants to kind of help me describe what this looks like, I never really thought about it in the middle. I mean, it's obviously the village circle has the big, beautiful ancient tree. Um, one of the images of the Kingfisher Festival. You could kind of see it there. I think it's maybe like a smallish, kind of humble gold-ish bell. I don't know what it's called, those things that hold bells, but it's in that. Um, it's kind of up on a podium, or a little platform with a podium, and Captain Rodon is ringing the bell. And yeah, and like the Kingfisher Festival decorations are still kind of around the village circle. The stands are there. Nat's Tats, the stand is there. And you're actually approached, Melvin, by Yalme, your new boss, or she was going to be your new boss at the Brass Crab. And she gives you a note and says, "Hey, this is from Hannah. She left." Um, and you open the note up, I'm assuming, and it just in her very stoic, big writing, she's like, "Hey, Melvin, you rock, but this place got scary, and that Misko guy's really cute and very mysterious, and I love his music. I'll be in Calaman. See you there, maybe?" And then she has like her little signature there. And yeah, just a little a little notice that she headed out. So yeah, bells rung, people start kind of coming in, including Lyx's parents, Waywin and Bill Bricks. They show up. Buff actually shows up. He's looking a little better, a little more patched up. He still has like kind of bandages everywhere, but he looks awake and aware. His uncle's there, the other giant guy, the owner of the fishbowl. And Darrett actually shows up, and he's actually in his guard outfit. And he looks a little tired, a little beat up, but he looks determined to help. And yeah, there is a moment for you all to interact with whoever you want before Mayor Raven kind of starts speaking. The Bakarises do show up as well. Bakaris, the senior and the younger. They kind of like push their way toward the front, actually. You both notice that. Yeah, you all have some time here to interact with the regular folk if you need to. If you want to say anything. Mayor Raven's kind of just maybe thinking of her words.
I'm gonna ask Darrett, like, what he thinks we should do. Darrett, you've been more passionate about the defense of Vogler than just about anybody. What do you think we should do?
When I don't know what to do, I normally rely on Becklin. And Becklin actually didn't follow you all, surprisingly. So she's not here. And he says, "I would do anything to protect this town." So I don't know. If an evacuation is necessary, that makes sense, and we can reconvene in Calaman, which is way more fortified. But I'm willing to do what it takes to protect these people, to protect
Melvin
my home.
nods. Melvin looks around at all of the assembled people at the bell tower. I mean, he's seeing so many faces of townsfolk who've really accepted him, a new Anesti from the slums of Gorjahanis. They've really taken him in. They've inspired him. They've given him a muse, if you will, a reason for the song in his heart and the magic in the world. But anyway, yeah.
As you were thinking that, Melvin, yeah, it's kind of a cheesy but beautiful scene where like Darrett, he's calmly smiling at you. You could tell that you're friends, that you're very close friends at this point. Yalma is also like kind of laughing because you could tell that she maybe read the note that Hannah left for you. Um, And you actually do notice that Buff kind of peeks over his shoulder to look at you, and then kind of looks away real quick, kind of bashfully. Um, uh, yeah, so you're thinking these things, and you remember these people that have been pretty great to you, Lyx's parents, who have shown you hospitality and have shown you love. Yeah, and maybe Willow, you even think a little bit about Waywin when you caught Benabog, the line breaker with him, and he has a drawing of you two with that fish now from Nat's Tats or whatever. Um, and yeah, and then yeah, Willow, you tell Melvin to maybe keep it quiet on the Lyx stuff for now. We'll let Lyx tell her parents, as usual, as has become routine, it seems. Um, yeah.
He's off, being a little bird.
Um, and then Waywin and Bilbrix are like, uh-huh, I think we should laugh. Um, and then Mayor Raven kind of like does like an um, and she's like, listen, everyone, I don't want to mince words. Um, a dangerous army is headed for Vogler. The Ironclad Regiment and the soldiers of Kalaman, they will do what they can to defend Vogler, but we must be ready to flee as soon as possible. And immediately, like, you hear like people going, oh, like murmurings everywhere, and people freaking out and gasp. Um, and then you hear from the front, you hear complaints like, what about this and what about that? I've lived here my whole life. Um, and then suddenly you hear Lord Baccharis Sr. say, preposterous, absolute preposterous and weak. And then he pulls himself up on stage, and you can kind of see that his son like boosts him up too, like using his back. Um, and let me remind you both all what these two goons look like real quick. Um, but yeah, the Baccharises, right? Your ex-bosses at this point. Baccharis the senior on the left, Baccharis the younger on the right. Um,
Oh
the
no, not
scene.
Mr. Clean and Draco Malfoy.
Yeah, so this Mr. Clean with a big old beard looking ass uh gets on stage and says, Mayor Raven, you have shown your incompetence one time too many. And then you hear like a couple of like agreements in the crowd. Like, yeah. You say an army comes our way, only a mayor as weak as you would allow such a thing to happen. I would never allow Vogler to be put in such a position of weakness. Um, and then he looks at the crowd and says, I say we revoke her powers and make me temporary mayor. I will get us out of this situation. Like, you do hear some people kind of cheering. And Lord Baccharis, the younger, kind of like smugly like smiling, has his hands crossed and like looking around as like chaos starts to erupt in the crowd, and people are freaking out, and some of them are you know being distracted and agreeing with Lord Baccharis here. And Mayor Raven is trying to say, like, this is not the time for this, and we need to flee. This if you all want me to not be mayor, then fine, but we have to get out of here. Um, and it's kind of just madness right now in the field, in the circle. Sorry, the village circle.
You said he came up onto the stage with us?
No, you all were in the crowd, is what I kind of assumed from your interactions with the people. But the stage is like.
But we're getting on the stage.
Yeah, I think Willow's just gonna get right up in his face and
So you have to march through the like kind of the crowd.
Oh yeah,
a bit.
I'm sure they'll move for me.
Yeah, and they do, but then Baccharis the younger says, hold up, where do you think you're going?
Oh, little lesser. And she's just gonna palm his face and try to push him to the side.
Shit.
You didn't even
Okay. Yeah, you actually got me a little. Hold up, I gotta think about this.
Sorry. That's what you do.
You see him go for his sword, and then you hear his dad say, "Let her on. I'm not scared of any citizen of Vogler or visitor or whatever you are. What is it you need to do, girl?" And then he puts his sword away, Lord Baccharis the Younger, and you're on stage with Mayor Raven and Lord Baccharis Senior.
Okay, Baccharis the Elder. First of all, don't call me girl just because I'm younger than you. It's not a high bar. Second, in my short amount of time, I have done more for this town than you ever could. So if you want to challenge her for mayor, you might have to go against me too.
And then he kind of like laughs at you. Says, "I've bought and refurbished and repopularized this city. This town would be nowhere without me and my influence, and the people here know that." Um, do a persuasion check. This is obviously not for him, actually. This is for others in the crowd. Yeah. And I'll do one for him too.
Advantage or just straight roll?
I like the bravery. I'll give you advantage if there's some kind of, I don't know, someone helping you.
I was hoping to use action help.
Okay.
Bardic inspiration.
Okay, how does this look, Melvin?
So as Willow goes towards the front of the stage, Melvin's kind of like squirming inside, like right behind the gap that's kind of made by people moving out of the way to accommodate Miss Venra or Madame Venra walking to the stage. And he goes, "Get his ass. Get him."
You couldn't start a chant with my name or something?
What?
No, I think that's cool. I like that he helped part the way. I think that adds to like some kind of grandness. So I'll say this is at advantage.
And this is the hero of all. Right now, everyone is super into Willow.
Perfect. Got it.
Yes.
Hell yeah. Okay. So that's true. That's true. Willow is a local legend. And then yeah, you hear from the crowd, "Yeah, she's tough as shit. Willow has defended this town. She's fought back the ghouls. She saw Sir Ispin. Ispin gave her the shield, remember? She's fucking awesome." And then you hear Waywin, and he takes out his drawing of you, and she's like, "She caught Benebog, the line breaker. Willow, Willow, Willow." And then you start hearing the chants of "Willow, Willow, Willow." And then you actually see Baccharis the Younger look at his dad and go like, to kind of like do a little signal for him to stop this. And then he says, and then Lord Baccharis the Senior looks around at the crowd and is like, "I knew this town wasn't worth my time." He kind of like walks off the stage and leaves.
Run
with
away,
his
old man. I knew you would.
Son. And then Mayor Raven says, "Thank you so much, Willow. Thank you for getting us back on track." And
I will say, while I'm still on the stage and I clearly have their attention, I'm going to just call out to the crowd that I appreciate the support. I don't actually want to be mayor. I put my full trust in Mayor Raven, and you should too.
And then you kind of hear like a slow clap, like a you kind of get that moment. And Mayor Raven appreciates it. And she's like, "But if we all want to vote for a new mayor after all this, that's fine. But I really want to get you all to safety, and we have to get moving. All right, this is what we're gonna do." And for that scene, we'll stop there, and I'm actually gonna explain to you all at the end what this is gonna look like at the end. But I want to jump back real quick to Sneak, Lyx, and Kujal. Sneak and and oh my God, Sneak and Lyx, Jesus. Any changes in what you're thinking? What are you guys? Can you kind of clarify exactly what you want to do, just so I have it down?
In my head, I was just asking Cool Joel for like 5 more minutes, and especially now that the bell has gone off, I'd like to observe how they react to that.
Okay.
I would almost completely agree. Like I would want to get as much information. Like I'm scouting, I'm recon. I don't want to do anything that's gonna hurt anything else, but if I can get information. So yeah, like how they're gonna react to the bell is the main thing that I'm gonna be paying attention to.
Sneak, there's something I want that I kind of thought of that makes sense for your character, I think. This could be one of Sneak's happiest moments in his life. You've never been invisible. Like you're invisible right now and you are just spying to the max. And like this is like maybe like a dream come true for Sneak.
Yo, honestly, low key, that is true because like I also like in my mind when I took my grandma's like old bloodied tattered rag and I threw it on me, like when I'm deep in the darkness, it's gonna make me look more ghoulish. Like I have this like white cover that's over
That's
me, like I
true.
have a mask over my face and a blood cover, like it's gonna make me look more ghoulish. Like, you know, like that's my
Yeah, so
thought,
you're
dude.
like you're this scary demon right now. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
kind of what
I'm not
Sneak.
scary, but I want to look scary.
Okay. So yeah, so Cujo agrees, but she's still pretty hell-bent on killing these people. And she's like, and I'll probably need your help so we can, you're both of your helps when the time comes, so we can just take them out in one fell swoop. Um, what do you two say to that?
I would concede. I would say okay.
At least immobilize them, and I'll finish them off if you don't like killing, honey.
I would say let's neutralize them all.
And she's like, I like that spirit, Sneak. All right, let's go, I guess, crisscross applesauce next to these assholes and see what happens. Um, so that's kind of what I'm imagining. Um, so since you all rolled so well in stealth, I won't make you do it again. And you got this awesome invisibility potion. So you are set. You guys get pretty close. You know, they're kind of taking turns sort of peeking every now and then. Once the bell went off, they kind of do peek over. Um, and you hear the woman say, "Do you think that was a war cry or they're trying to signal to someone?" And then the guys start laughing and they're like, "This is a fucking fishing village. She's just telling them that we're coming. Just calm down. Why are you so on edge? Like you really are scared of these people?" Um, and she's like, "If I'm gonna get up in ranks in this army, then I have to take my job seriously, unlike you two fools." Um, and then the other two are like, "She really thinks Consaldi's gonna notice her." Yeah, whatever, man. We're just as likely to be food for Ignia than we are to get promoted by Consaldi. And then the woman says, I want to make it so that Ignia and Consaldi don't even have to show up here. And the other guys are like, why not? Don't you want to see a fucking dragon burn down this piece of shit village? He's like, doesn't that sound awesome? I'm gonna honestly just stay back and get what I can. Consaldi and her fucking dragon are amazing. You've yet to see it happen. I'm sure Ignia's itching to eat some folks. Um, and uh, the other guy says, yeah, but I'm pretty sure she's been holding the dragons back. They were still taking over Solamnia. They might be a bit ways off. So it might just be us and the boiler drax for now. So yeah, Lyx and Sneak, you would know that Solamnia is the entire region to the west. The entire region to the west.
And that's where
Sir Becklin is from.
And that's where our main dude, Humruth, was headed.
No, he's heading to Calaman.
Oh, he's just heading to Calaman. Oh, okay.
Yeah. He swam across the Vingard River.
Okay. True.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, so these are very talkative soldiers. Okay, I'm trying to be realistic with what they share. So
Yeah.
so far feels realistic. And yeah, and then maybe like 20, 30 more minutes pass. They're kind of silent. They kind of talk about
Oh, well,
pointless.
I mean, I had said to Cujo only 5 minutes. So is
Okay,
she
really?
signal or?
No, she actually grabs your hand and she actually like signals that she wants to like maybe hear a little more because they're revealing quite a lot. Um, uh, and then one of them says, "Jesus, where the fuck are they? Shouldn't they be arriving soon? They're taking forever. Um, they we they were supposed to arrive way before nighttime." Um, and that's when Cujo is like, "All right, that's enough."
Bingo bongo.
All right, how do you do this?
Well,
So so the two guys are on the cliffs facing the fish gate. The woman's further like
can
20
you stop the screen share?
yeah. You want me to show you on roll 20 or something?
No, it's just on the bozos. The
Oh,
book.
okay, yeah. Yeah, we can end actually we could end on that. We can end on how you all will try and get out of invisibility and finish these guys off or whatever you're thinking. Um Yeah, so you got a lot of information there. There's someone named Consaldi who seems to be a higher up, has a dragon, um, claiming all of Solamnia. They obviously see Vogler as nothing and expect it to be treated as such. What else did I reveal? They're probably going to come before nighttime. It was all a lie, the message. So important information there. Um, So, what I want to say is all of you think of actually you all have a lot of out of session stuff you can do right now in order to speed up the future sessions. If you tell me, listen, I do this to help out, I do that to help out, I talk to this NPC, maybe some of the real cool stuff we can bring in session, but I think this is a really good time just because there's a lot of, I want to open up your creativity to the max. You guys can be as creative as you want right now. Um, and I think it'll be easier instead of us being in session and being like, oh, which because I know it's hard to like do it on the spot sometimes. Think it through and maybe we can have a Google Doc or something like I don't know some kind of defense of Vogler, and I can add some of my notes like the people you've recruited. Just an idea. You obviously don't have to do it, and obviously we can fly by the skin of our teeth. But I want to open that up to you all that you all can be like, hey, I talked to Waywin to you like talk to the fisherman for okay, I'm probably giving you too much help now. But you know, whatever you want to do. Shit, I feel like I had one more thing to say. No, that was it.
Do you
Cool.
think that so like really what Sneak and I can do is limited to that area up there?
No. So, well, this is the assumption that you survive this encounter, you finish them off, and then maybe you reconvene with Vogler.
Okay.
So think about so maybe some important things. Yeah,
Shit, we may not
defenses.
even take them off. We may just even like hide up in the woods and even catch more information. Who knows?
Cujo really wants her people now, as soon as possible.
Yeah, that's fair.
After hearing that they're lying, um, she's kind of done with the bullshit. And yeah, so I don't know. Just think about NPCs if you want to talk to so and so because you think they might help with whatever. Yeah, any stuff like that. Um, Sound good? I hope you all are enjoying this kind of, it's a bit fluid, these sessions. Very open to what you guys are doing. I actually had a hill encounter thing ready to roll, but Lyx, your plan was too awesome and I want to reward it. So fuck my hill encounter.
Oh.
No, this is way better and this is awesome. I'm giving you great information and I wasn't expecting to. So good old DnD. Alrighty. So May 6th. Cool. Alrighty, so I'll see you all then. May the 4th be with you in between, and I'll finally get a haircut so I won't look so much like a South American Beatles musician. So I'll look better for our viewers, you know.
Thank you as always, Cristian.
Yeah,
Yes,
of course.
Yeah,
Watch
thank
for
you.
running.
Yeah, of course. You'll have a good night.
Sneak,
Take care.
we can go crazy. We have the bag of holding too.
I forgot. You're right.
we could go crazy.
All right. Bye. Have a good day. Bye.
What happens when I forget what I give you? Bye-bye.